On Central News tonight, have your say on the Bay of Plenty 10-year plan. Waikato mothers in need get a helping hand, and the school gate is open for endeavour. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Friday the 20th of February. I'm Amanda Harper. In today's news, water quality and quantity, environmental protection, resilience and safety, regional collaboration and leadership, and economic development are the focus for the next 10 years. Bay of Plenty Regional Council Long-Term Plan 2015-2025 will be finalised in June and will set out key challenges for the Bay of Plenty and how they will be tackled. The Council's consultation document, Thriving Together, which summarises the issues, has been officially notified and is now open for submissions from today until 4 o'clock on the 20th of March. Regional Council Chairman Doug Leader says the region was facing challenges and they are keen for residents to have their input. Central North Island fish and game officers are hopeful of a better game bird season in May after thousands of mallards have been trapped and banded around the North Island. The work is carried out in the Bay of Plenty and East Coast and the Auckland and Waikato regions. Areas which come under the strongest hunting pressure are normally trapped more intensively. Eastern Senior Fish and Game Officer Matthew McDougall says so far this summer, well over 5,000 birds have been banded. A poor surf forecast has forced officials to postpone the 2015 Coast Papamoa Beach New Zealand Longboard and SUP Open scheduled to take place this weekend. Set down for Saturday and Sunday at Papamoa Beach, this is the second national event in 3 weeks to be rescheduled, with the average summer swell on the northeast coast of New Zealand continuing to hamper events. Contest Director Ben Kennings say they have been monitoring a storm system coming down from the tropics, but unfortunately it is going to arrive 24 to 36 hours too late for the event to take place. The event has now been rescheduled for April the 11th and 12th. Water Safety NZ wants to hear from schools with swimming pools that are under threat of closure and lend a hand to keep some of New Zealand's most vital resources afloat. The organisation is currently on a mission to help schools keep their swimming pools open, with at least 150 school pools closing since 2008. Many of these have become non-operational, left empty or covered over. And a further 30 schools from a range of deciles have contacted Water Safety NZ seeking help to keep their facilities open. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Saturday will be fine spells with afternoon showers and light winds. High of 27 and low of 13. The rest of the Waikato will be the same with fine spells and afternoon showers in some parts. Paeroa, a high of 26 and low of 16. Matamata, 25 and 15. Te Awamutu, a high of 27 and a low of 13. Tokorua, your high is 24 and low of 14. Over in the Bay, Tauranga, fine spells with a chance of an afternoon shower. High of 25 and low of 17. For the rest of the Bay of Plenty, you will have plenty of sun with possible afternoon, evening showers. Te Puke, high of 23 and low of 15. And for the marine forecast, West Coast, variable 10 knots, high tide at 12:54 p.m. East Coast, variable 10 knots as well, high tide at 10:16 p.m. Stay with us after the break, the Young Mothers Group and Hippie. Welcome back to Central News. I'm Amanda Harper. The Waikato Family Centre offer practical help and support to parents of babies aged under 12 months. Not only do they help with feeding and sleeping issues, they also run groups tailored to people with specific needs. Anne-Marie spoke with nurse manager Maureen Speedy and mum Laura Monaghan to find out more about the groups, in particular the Young Mothers Group.
We have a Young Mothers Group, teenagers who we've come across in our travels or somebody has referred in, and we do a particular afternoon for those on a Wednesday afternoon tailored with a speaker from the social services or from the medical profession, so that they will know what to expect from the health professional, not what the health professional expects from them. And then very, very low key. From that, the need was seen for the young teenage dads. So we do every 6 weeks have a teenage dad and mum evening, not always the biological dad, but the dad that's helping. And they come along here, and again we do a specific evening for those, free pizzas and just help with them. And I think we try to make it low key, but again bring in the anti-violence message, what makes a good dad, and they're delightful evenings, and we have those every 6 weeks.
You also provide support for people who are suffering from postnatal distress. Tell me about that.
No, again, that's another need that's evolved, and I firmly believe if you help a mother, you always get help back. And through that, I've got a GP that helps me, a psychologist and a pharmacist that have had help here, and they help with the group. And we do a lot of the sessions at night because we haven't time in the day to do it. And we run a group of about 6 to 8 women, and it's about every 6 weeks, and we are now up to group 96.
Laura, you've been helped in many ways by the Waikato Family Centre. Tell me a bit about your story.
Well, while I brought Darcy in here for various reasons, reflux, feeding issues, trying to get her onto the bottle, the main way in which the Family Centre helped me was to look at me rather than to look at Darcy, and to help me with my postnatal distress. And like I said, I joined one of the groups. I think it was group 89, and there were 5 of us, and we would come, at the start I was reluctant, I'm not going to lie, I was reluctant to join. I didn't want to come and sit with a bunch of sad women and hold hands and sing Kumbaya and talk about our weeks, but it wasn't like that at all. For one thing, these are amazing women. They're all very much like me. They're the sort of people I'd be friends with anyway. They're just going through a hard time. And so you have the relationship with these women. We still keep in contact. We meet up regularly just for dinners and to have a laugh. We have a Facebook group that we communicate over daily, if not more. But more than that, it's also the education side of it, which as opposed from singing Kumbaya, you actually learn a lot about your condition, about yourself, about ways of managing it, about medication, about all those sort of things, which I really appreciated. And there was a night that sort of early on that they bring the dads in as well, because poor old dad's not just dealing with the unsettled baby, he's also got an unsettled mother to deal with as well. So it's for them learning more about what's going on with their partner and with the mother of their child, and how he can help as well.
Because he's flying blind, a lot of the dads think that the way she has changed is just peculiar to motherhood, and if he ignores it, it will go away. But when he comes along and he finds out these other intelligent women are going through the same and putting on that wonderful face to the world that it's wonderful and it's the best time of their life, when it is the toughest time of their life. So that's what it's geared at, the dad's night, so that he doesn't think it's his fault or it's her fault they've got it. It's it's something that they can deal with themselves.
How are these groups funded?
With the funding from here, but that's why we always have a shortfall, because I keep coming up with these different ideas for different things that we could do to help people, and once you get into them, it has a life of its own. So that's why we're always short of funding.
Laura, you've heard about the funding shortfall, and you're helping to organise a fundraiser at Hamilton Lake on the 22nd of February. Tell me about that. Well,
on the 22nd of February, we're going to be meeting down at Inniscommon in Hamilton, and we will be having a buggy run around the lake. So I think that starts, it's from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock is the family fun day. Buggy run starts around 11, and we will all commune with our buggies, whether or not you've got a child in it, and whether it's a mother pushing, whether it's a father, an auntie, an uncle, a nana, a granddad, pushing around the lake and then coming back and enjoying the family fun day we have going on, music, entertainment, games, bouncy castles, food stalls and drinks, coffee for all. So it's going to be a really fun day.
Yes, and we're hoping that some of the mothers from years ago, I have been here for a few years, from years ago will come and walk around the lake, crawl around the lake or whatever.
We're not going to kick someone out if they don't have a buggy.
Do people need to register?
We would prefer that people register just to keep the admin down on the day, and they can do that at the website waikatobuggyRun.nz. However, if people turn up on the day and want to register, we'll of course register them.
And if they'd like to donate any goods for spot prizes, whatever, we're always very grateful.
Maureen, looking back over your time at the Waikato Family Centre, what are some of your proudest moments?
Probably don't look back a lot because I thoroughly love it, and you meet wonderful mothers. And then I love, probably, when you say that, it's seeing the mothers later on and you see the real person come through, because that's harking back to postnatal depression. I think when they've come through that, you see a much stronger person, and it's wonderful to see that personality coming through, whereas you see them in some of their darkest times, really.
And do you get to see the babies?
Unfortunately, they do grow to adulthood and I still remember the mother.
What's your vision for the future of the Waikato Family Centre?
Well, I'd love to see it continue as it is going now, go on to bigger things if possible.
For more information on the Waikato Buggy Run, check out the Waikato Family Centre Facebook page, facebook.com/Waikato Family Centre. Coming up after the break, what is Hippie? Welcome back. Hippie is a home-based program that sees children and parents working together for 15 minutes a day with books, puzzles and learning games that help children become successful learners at school. It has been active in New Zealand for the past 20 years, but is only just starting in Hamilton. Anne-Marie spoke with Hippie Hamilton coordinator Liz Winslade to find out how people can become part of the Hippie program.
As a foundation base, I have spent a little bit of time going around schools and preschools, other agencies, developing relationships with things like Plunkett, some of the medical centres in the area, because we've also got to make sure, as well as providing an immediate program, Hippie is a name that's recognised within the community for a long time. And other than that, part of my role is to go around door knocking, physically introducing myself and selling the story that Hippie is a great program to be committed to.
Tell me about the Hippie program. How does it work?
So Hippie is an in-home provider for preschool education that interacts between a parent and their child. So for 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, for 30 weeks of the school year, over a 2-year period if possible, we work on delivering a little week-by-week program that you and your child sit alongside each other and go through some specific things. Very role-play orientated, very structured, so that even if you've had a disappointing experience with education yourself, Hippie gives you the tools so that you and your child are going to transition into school for the next generation well.
What types of activities?
All those preschool education type things that you may think are important. Like there's learning to listen and follow instructions. There's some recognition of letters and numbers, shapes and colours. There's other things like learning to hold the pencil correctly, recognising that you write your name from the left to the right, to appreciate books, and everything that is provided remains yours, so that any other time or with any other children, you're able to use the facilities of Hippie and the materials that you get to keep for yourself.
Is there a specific criteria for eligibility?
There is a specific criteria. We're funded by the Ministry of Social Development, so there is a criteria, and it may be as basic as you yourself have had a bad experience at education, but you recognise that for your next child, for your child, you would like a better experience. And so because you recognise that for yourself, that may be the only criteria you have to meet. But there may be others, like where you live, some of the other employment opportunities that you have or haven't had, and perhaps even what is some of your base income.
What outcomes are you hoping to achieve?
I would love to see a community develop that recognises Hippie as a great potential way to help parents and their children transition into a successful education experience.
You're a preschool teacher, but this is a brand new role for you. How are you feeling?
I'm passionate about preschool education, worked in local community-based, for-profit and not-for-profit. But I recognise that despite the good intentions of preschools, sometimes we need to be affirming the parent in their role. And rather than taking a hands-off approach, Hippie suggests that you remain involved and that you and your child learn to create fun educational experiences at home and not only leading it for the professionals to do.
For more details, go to greatpotentials.org.nz. Endeavour School in Hamilton opened for Term 1 this year with 115 pupils enrolled. Anne-Marie spoke with Principal Marcus Freak to find out more about the Learning Hub's teaching style.
So we've adopted the theory of learning communities, and there's a lot of thinking that goes with that idea. So the key element of it is collaboration. So kids working collaboratively to construct their learning and make sense of the world that they're learning, and a kind of knowledge as a social construct theory. So that's a key part. Another element of a learning community is everyone is a learner. So therefore the control doesn't always sit with the teacher. There are other children or members of our community who may be a part of leading learning in our school. So that whole idea of it being very fluid and utilising all the funds of knowledge that sit in our school is quite an important part of that. It's also about, as I said, collaboration and not a competitive model. So the children are working together to achieve the best outcomes for all learners, as opposed to students trying to outdo each other and do, there being a loser and a winner in the environment. So those are the key elements that underpin a learning community, and that's what we're striving for in our hubs.
You've been up and running now for a couple of weeks. Is it all going to plan?
Yes, it is. We have still got a lot of work to do. I think we've observed, one of the observations from Leah, my deputy principal, was that we're doing a lot of collaborative management, but the collaborative teaching is still coming. And I think that revolves around we're still working through our assessment processes and really establishing the needs of all the learners. Once we've got that, we'll be able to get children working together in groups and working on the things that they need to focus on to make progress and get them moving with their learning.
Tell me how spaces aid high levels of collaboration between the teachers and the students.
So our space is designed so there's no front of class, so you don't have that lecture style with the teacher controlling the knowledge and lecturing to the children who are vessels to be filled. So there's that. The spaces are flexible. The children have access to all the spaces and are able to control and manipulate them to suit the type of learning they need to do at the time. The idea that children can come together for short periods and just brainstorm and collaborate and get their thinking straight before they move on. The children are able to manipulate the furniture so that they can work in different ways and different levels that suit them for that time, is all part of how our spaces work. So it's putting that control back with the children and how they're using the spaces as well. I think one of the significant things is that they're designed so that you can't actually put four walls back and default back to a single cell teaching model. We're really committed to having open, flexible learning spaces that can't be captured by any one person and default back, and that's important to us.
It's been quite a journey to get here. Tell me about the support you've received from the community.
We have had amazing support from our community in terms of our parents and our neighbours. We had a wonderful bell donated by two of our neighbours, and also Alan, one of the others, has been a great photographer and just kept a digital diary of everything that's been going on across the road. So they've been fantastic. I think our parents who have come out and supported have come from some other very high performing schools, but recognise this is a fantastic way for their children to live and learn, and as a result of that they've come in and they've come and been really supportive, and they've come with ideas and solutions to potential problems and things to really make our place work. And of course I've been very fortunate to have a highly experienced establishment board who all have a strong background in education, but are people who have not told me that I should be doing it this way or doing it that way, but just been a sounding board and people who have given their advice and direction as required. So it's been very fortunate.
It must be lovely to have the students at the school and seeing it all up and running. What's been a highlight for you so far?
Well, certainly having the children arrive was the highlight. They are the heart and soul of our school. They actually make it come alive. And it was a fantastic that first day that we finally had the children coming in their uniforms and just being really buzzing with excitement. So having the kids on board has certainly been the highlight, and actually now starting to use the spaces and all that planning we've done has certainly now starting to come to fruition with our kids.
For more information, go to endeavour.school.nz. That is Central News for today and this week. If you would like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email news@tvcentral.co.nz. Join me again next week for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. I'm Amanda Harper. Have a good weekend. Pō Marie.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.